If you're going to give me mash, make an airplane noise with the fork as you put it into my mouth.
Let's be honest, I do like a good beer with a wine.
A beer with a wine?
I'm not a big beer person.
Because you don't like Guinness, do you?
No, God, no.
How does that go down?
In the same way that I've never attended Riverdance. Have I forced you into a dessert?
Not forced.
It's been done with our pleasure.
That feels done with more of my pleasure.
It's essentially Yorkshire pudding.
Same sort of ingredient, except you don't put butter in a Yorkshire pudding. A bit more butter in this as well, because I measured it wrong.
I'm nodding along. I don't care.
You don't care.
Hello. Welcome to Dish from Waitrose. I'm Nick Grimshaw.
And I'm Angela Hartnett.
And we are here for another episode of Dish, where we sit here, we have a chat, a guest will join us imminently, and Angela will make us a delicious meal. Yet to make a crap one.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good.
No misses.
No misses. Well, it's been one or two,
Today
I think, but
could be the day. No, we're having a curry today. Do you like a curry?
I do love a curry,
I love
actually.
a curry.
Don't make them often, actually.
No, I don't make them only because I think you can't beat one from a takeaway.
Yes, I do agree. I think, yeah.
Certain things.
Why go to all that fuss?
No, it's not about the fuss. It's just like it's not going to be as good.
Well, we'll see today.
There's certain, it'll be different with you making it to me making it, but it's one of the foods as well that I crave. Like once I get that curry thought into my head.
Oh, I agree. If I'm sort of sitting there one day going, actually, I fancy that tonight, I have to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very rare I get that about anything else.
Yes.
But with the curry, I sort of think, I want that.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah,
non-negotiable.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
need it then. I wonder what it is. Maybe it's like when you need flavour.
I think it's quite comforting. Well, I always think that if either you've been eating not bland but just normal everyday food and you just want a bit of kick of spice and you feel like sometimes you just want to, energise yourself.
Yeah.
I think that.
We always have one when we get back from Glastonbury.
Okay,
on, say, the Monday. If we travel back on the Monday, we all go for a curry on a Monday night.
Yeah.
And that almost feels like a religious experience.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Been eating.
Do you actually even talk on that Monday?
No. We just eat the curry and shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
And have it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for today. So Dara Ó Briain is our guest, who you will know as a fantastic comedian.
Yeah.
Who did
Mock the Wheat. Yes.
Stargazing with Professor Brian Cox.
Yeah.
Never off the telly.
Super smart, this guy.
Very smart.
Very smart.
I think he did maths and physics at uni.
Yeah, slightly geeky in that way, I think.
Yes.
And he admits it, I think.
Yeah. I had him on the radio with Professor Hannah Fry.
Oh, wow.
Never felt more stupid. And I love when we get to do on the radio, like a sciencey moment.
You love a sciencey moment.
Love.
Yeah.
But I always love like the first minute and a half of it.
And then
they go off and I'm like,
and then you're just like,
you've lost me.
Yeah,
You've lost me. And they're like, so you know an atom? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, so you know an atom splits? And then obviously dissolve. And I'm like, I've lost it. No, I've gone. Well, very excited Dara's here today.
Yeah.
He'll be with us soon. But first, we thought we could do some listener questions. Hi, Nick and Angela. Not a question, but just want to say that I corrected my roast potatoes routine to parboil them from cold water. Because remember you said a few weeks back, maybe last series, to parboil the potatoes from cold rather than filling up your kettle and putting boiling water on.
Amateur mistake.
Which I do. This is from Sue. Sue says, after making the potatoes, boiling them from cold water, she was told they're the best roast potatoes they've had for a while. But still good. Still good.
The best.
Still the best they've had for a while.
Oh, wow. She's back on track.
Amy in Bristol is up next. Hi, Dish. Massive fan of the podcast. I love food and good flavours and I regularly go to great restaurants with friends or work, but I'm always too nervous to order seafood, fish or anything that looks like I need a certain technique to eat it. Yeah, when they start putting the lobster
cutlery,
thing down, I'm like, Amy says she grew up in a meat and two veg household where we never had anything exotic as a prawn, let alone a lobster. So I won't have a clue where to start. Can Angela Give me some tips. How can I learn to eat shellfish or anything fiddly to give me the confidence to order it at a restaurant without embarrassing myself? Yeah, because it's not something you can really try at home, is it? Like get a lobster, cook it yourself, and then do it. Like, how do you crack eating a lobster?
Yeah. So you get these look like nutcrackers, but they're for lobster, and you get a big sort of thin metal skewer, but it's like a stick.
Yeah.
And that's when you sort of pick the meat out. But I think most places should. They'll give you the lobster sort of half shell, the tail, and you'll be able to just pull the lobster out of that. And then you've basically got the claws and you've got the
cracker to crack them.
But they should crack the shell for you.
Right.
So it's basically being sort of, in a way, knocked. So all you have to do is then just pull that shell off it. Most good places. Our good friend Richard Corrigan, if you went to have lobster in his restaurant, it would be cracked, so it makes it easier for you to do it. Because it is a bit faffy. But my also thing to lovely Amy is just go for it. Honestly,
there's not really a rule, is there? Just
no one's going to worry about it, and and ask, and if it really becomes it, just ask the waiter, can you go back in the kitchen and pick the last bits out for me? Any good place will really look after you, but just have fun with it. Don't worry about
don't
it.
overthink
Get a
it.
big napkin around you, cover your clothes, and go.
And then
for
same with the prawn, really.
Yeah, exactly. Just suck their heads and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just
snap that head off.
Why is that wrong?
Why is that funny, guys? Come on.
They're all so dirty here,
I
aren't
know. It's like working in the FHM office.
Yeah. Stop it.
If you ever have any questions for us, by the way,
Are there any ever questions? Are there ever any questions for you? Well, I've yet to read one out. When do we get a Nick question?
Yeah, okay, send a question to me. If you ever want to email us a question, Angela complains that I never get any, email us dish@waitrose.co.uk. Should we get Dara Ó Briain in?
Yes, let's get him in.
Let's
Very
get
excited.
him in.
Yes.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Very, very well.
Nice to see you.
Hey, lovely to see you.
How are you?
Yes, very
good,
well.
thank
And
you.
you, come and join
Yes,
us.
good.
hungry?
I am starving, actually.
Good.
Pointedly
We have
starving,
curry.
actually.
Marvellous.
Oh, lovely.
over there, my
Thank you
lovely.
very much. You got a gloves and steel, please. Yeah, thank you very much. That'd be fantastic.
On the show today, we welcome an Irish stargazer who we can also suspect may be able to moonwalk. It's a comedian and broadcaster, Dara Ó Briain, everybody. Welcome, Dara. How are you?
I'm very well. I
Yes.
love eating with people watching.
we love it.
It's
Isn't
my,
it the best?
It's my can thing, yeah.
Isn't it the best? Oh, it's unreal.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through your food likes and dislikes.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Because basically before you come on Dish, to everyone listening, you will get a call, essentially making sure that our guests enjoy.
happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy. No point you making a delicious meal.
exactly.
They hate.
Yeah.
There's one of these kind of Saturday morning ones. I think I only did it once, where
Yes.
they say it's food heaven or food hell.
yes.
Yeah. And then whatever, it's a random thing, and I end up with food hell, and it was like genuinely an unpleasant meal. Like, and it's a real downer to the end of the
Yeah, you're
show.
like,
Oh, great! Thanks for the avocado.
But that won't happen here.
No,
this
clearly
won't
not.
happen here. Won't happen here. So the likes are quite meaty. You have written many meats on the bone: ribeye, ribs, lamb shoulder, chicken wings, and thighs. You follow that with most types of potato, apart from mash.
Yes.
And then dauphinoise.
Dauphinoise. Look, it was just a slightly force your hand. You didn't go that
Dauphinoise.
way. Yeah, dauphinoise. Do you like a dauphinoise? It was
Yeah.
what popped into my head. I wasn't intending, and it's only I noticed that a lot of the meats I love, which would be ribs, for example, or ribeye steak, for whatever, and potatoes, which I don't think you've gone that way either.
No, we've gone for, because you also said most pastas and most curries.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we've gone down the curry road.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That'd be gorgeous.
Poppadom starter if you want.
I'm okay. I'm grand. Never did the poppadom. Sorry.
No poppadoms?
No.
I'm desperate for a poppadom.
Have a poppadom.
I'm having one.
You go straight to the curry. Straight to the
yeah.
heart
Love
of
a
it, yeah.
poppadom.
I mean, I'm not
Don't
saying
like
that-
a little samosa or an onion bhaji?
Maybe. No, I'm saying I'll have a starter.
a little
But like, I do
starter.
find myself going, oh, what are
Yeah.
these dry discs of nothing that they're thrown in?
Oh, I love a dry
with a
disc of
small
nothing.
plastic bag of chopped.
Oh, yes, vegetable,
that
weird,
they do
yeah.
as well. But also the potato thing. When it was said, I was saying this to my family. Oh, they want me to specify, and they all went, You'll say potato, won't you? Yeah. And I hate generally living up to any stereotypes. The
cabbage and potatoes, what you're
Yeah,
saying,
I'm
yeah.
not saying boil it. If you play the game of favourite starch,
Yeah.
Yes, favourite starch.
it will win.
Which we will play later.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a game of it
What's
later.
your sort of beef with mash? What's wrong with mash?
It feels slightly pre-chewed.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to give me mash, make an airplane noise with the fork as you put it into my mouth.
Little babyish.
I feel like mash is for the beginning and the end of your life. for the
I'm
middle
sure your
bit.
children have noted that later on. Yeah.
For the middle bit where your teeth are in good working order.
Yeah.
No,
We can
no
chew.
mash.
Yeah,
We can chew.
Still got teeth. Let's
We
do
can
it.
chew. What were your no-goes?
Not cake or sponge. You don't like
Oh, sorry,
that.
on dessert. Sorry, yeah, not a
Well,
big
not just
sponge person.
dessert.
Baklava. Don't like baklava. Don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
too sweet.
Yeah, oily, the stickiness of it all. Like, don't do that, like whatever. There are more dessert dislikes.
Yeah.
So I'm not
And any
great for that.
fish, because I learned the fish.
Oh,
the
yeah.
beautiful
So much,
shellfish and stuff.
not so much in the oily, the ones or whatever, but like the, I mean, if you stick it in batter and put it next to chips, you're laughing.
You're laughing.
Yeah,
You're
right.
there. Tick that box.
Yeah, no, fish, okay, grand. Never got the thing about oysters. Never got the rawness, the gloopiness, the strangeness of them all, the supposed erotic appeal of it. I love you, and we shall make love. But first, eat this snot.
Okay, food is here, and what have we got here?
So we have a chicken karahi curry from my friend Ravneet Gill, is her recipe. And we're serving it with basmati rice, some naan breads, poppadoms if you'd like. And yeah, enjoy. Rav does it. What she does is sort of dice up her chicken. Whereas I know, Dara, you love chicken on the bone. So
Yeah.
I've cooked it on the bone.
Ultimately, it's the
thighs,
same thing,
chicken
you know.
thighs. Yeah.
It's delicious.
So you start off by sweating down your onions. Do that for about 10 minutes. Then you add your garlic and ginger. Then add your spices and cook those out.
Yeah.
So talk us through the spices in this.
So you've got chili powder, ground masala, and turmeric, and then add the chicken. So all the chicken gets coated in the lovely spices with the onion, the garlic, and the ginger. And then you add plum tomatoes.
Oh,
and it's the
right.
plum tomatoes as they cook down because they're fresh, forms a sauce. And that's what you have. So it's just the natural juices of the chicken, the plum tomatoes that are cooked down slowly, finished with a touch of yogurt.
That's lovely.
Oh, wow. So just a bit of
You
yogurt
happy?
and stir it through.
I'm very happy.
Yogurt, stir it through, a little bit of lemon.
That is absolutely delicious.
That's really gorgeous, yeah.
And it calls for plum tomatoes, just like tinned plum tomatoes.
No, these are fresh.
Fresh.
You need the fresh ones because they're denser than the plum
Right.
than tinned tomatoes. They'd cook down too much, whereas you need these to slowly cook down and then they're cooking in the chicken.
Nice spice as well.
Yeah,
It's
you've
hot.
got- I added a little extra spice, so I hope that's all right.
Yeah, no, I like that. Do
doesn't,
you like a hot curry, Dara?
Yeah, but not, performatively hot. Like
Hot, but with a depth.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Not just hot for hot's sake.
Not just hot for hot's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely.
And then how did you do the delicious rice, Ange?
You know how I did the delicious rice snack. Much like you two and your takeout curries, I said, Sam, could you give me some takeout rice, please? And there she did. Lovely Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Sam,
No, do you know how to make rice perfect? Because
I'm not a good rice person. Who I'm going to go and learn rice with is my friend's father, Latif, who's Iraqi. And he does amazing Iraqi food. And I said, I want to come and learn rice with you. Because, it's the essence of so many cuisines.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just put too much water, or it's too wet, or it's not cooked enough. And we should know. It's
But
terrible.
should we not all have like a rice cooker? Like
Cooker.
I don't need another gadget.
It's what all Indian and Chinese people use. Have they not
Oh, do
always-
they? Oh,
I think
right.
the general attitude within those parts of the world is they go, "Why are you doing this
Right.
with a pot?" And then you're like, it's just like, no, we just have it.
Why
Why
are you
bam,
an idiot,
done. Like,
basically,
why
yeah.
are you doing this? You're making it
All
more
right, I'm
difficult
going
for
to.
yourself. Like,
All right, rice cooker. That's
Yeah.
on my Christmas list next
do.
year.
dirty one.
With the really spicy food, do you go big or do you go small on the wine?
I think with a curry, you probably need to go big.
right.
And we're serving it with a Primitivo Italian red from Puglia.
Yeah.
Which has a medium-bodied red, it is, with a fragrant and rounded flavour, plenty of red fruit flavour with good acidity and smooth tannins. Do you feel that, Dara?
I'm enjoying the smooth tannins. I'm feeling the flavour. Yeah.
Quite strong a Primitivo wine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like 15% alcohol and stuff. It's quite
Okay,
good,
well that's
yeah.
bonus.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that I worry about the red wine with the Indian meal because I feel like the only way for it to work is you have two competingly strong things.
Too mild, just won't stand up to the sort of the balance of flavours. But, let's be honest, I do like a good beer with a wine.
Right, okay.
No,
with
good
the curry.
beer wine.
Beer with the wine.
There's an expression when you have it all lined up, different glasses, when you're not...
Like a chaser.
I think it's
expression
called
that-
alcoholism.
That's it. No, but I do like a beer with a curry.
I do, yeah.
But we've got a red wine
Because
pairing
you
here.
like Primitivo wine.
I do. I like Italian wine, but I'm not a big beer person. I have too sweet a tooth for it, and I find beer just bitter. I've always found it to be bitter. So my pint is like a cider, an Irish cider. Oh yeah, generally.
Love a cider.
Okay.
Do you have a cider? I mean, but the only thing is that there's a particular brand of a cider that I have been very loyal to.
Oh, yes?
For many years. Yeah, which is Bulmers in Ireland, Magners over here.
Because you don't like Guinness, do you?
No, God, no.
How does that go down
In the same way that I've never attended Riverdance. You know, we're
Oh, for God's sake.
capable of a totality of Guinness is, I don't know whether it's you describe it as relatively small, but like there's a lot of brands in the
like
market. Guinness are it's not compulsory. It's weird. It seems to have swung back to it. Young people are doing it now again. I don't like coffee either. I don't like that kind of bitterness. Yeah.
If you want to try this recipe, which is delicious, by the way, you can get
Really,
this
really
recipe and all the recipes we do, waitrose.com/dish recipes. They're all on there. And Dara, can we talk about your tour?
You can, absolutely.
Yes.
So the point at which we're recording this, the UK party will kick in April. And then for a year in the UK.
It's a year.
Oh, no. Yeah, and then another 6 months of doing Scandinavia and Australia, New Zealand and Canada and the States, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, they've all gone very long. So you do about 170 gigs.
Wow.
How does that work with all the stuff you do on TV then?
You try to keep a couple of weeks blank. I mean, most
So
stuff I
you'll
do
fly
now.
back and do what you need
most
to do.
stuff I do now on TV will be documentaries, the kind of
Right.
thing, and you try to have a 8-day bit where you can do
okay.
that. So we'll do less. But it's been long the thing that I've prioritized the live over the thing. And so like this, you've never seen me doing a regular radio show, for example,
sure.
because that would stop me doing the tours. There's things I don't do because the tours are kind of.
So do you love the touring?
Yeah.
'Cause I know it's such a commitment. I always
Adore it.
Yeah, because it's very different to an artist or a musician going on tour, because you've got your collective together.
Yeah.
And it's, all eyes are on you. It's like your name above the door. Do you find that quite daunting, knowing that you're going to be doing this for the next?
Certainly a bit where and certainly I mean last Wednesday, this is the perfect time because last one was the opening night.
Right.
Because you also write it in chunks. Because there's a whole ecosystem of gigs, particularly in London, of people trying out new material. Because the only way you do it is basically you go on stage and you give it a go, and then on stage it'll develop and you'll see, that idea worked, that didn't work. In the panic just before the gig is when a lot of it comes into sharp focus. And so that everyone does this process of trying it out. But when it means you try it out in 10 minutes and 20 minutes and 20 minutes and 10 minutes, and you very rarely get to the full thing, maybe once or twice, and then you go out on the opening night and it's like a memory test of trying to get this all falling into shape, whatever. And then once you've seen that, once you go, oh, hang on, now obviously I got to flip that around, because naturally the show should start sort of big and then settle into and then end particularly big, and all of that stuff has to happen when you've seen it in its full shape. But it's really it's like that whole thing of 6 people on blindfolds try to name an elephant by touching a small part of it. That you try to write the show in little bits and hope that they click in together.
And do you record the first couple to then view it back and then decide no?
The professional thing would be to have listened to myself, and I managed to for 30 years not do that.
It's worked
and at
all
some
right.
point,
It's done well.
At some point, I'll go, I talk too quickly. And wow, this really could have been bigger as a career if I just learned to slow down sometime in the 90s. And I have little verbal tics that just drive me insane. So I have to watch them back now because we'll clip and grab bits to stick on Instagram. And it makes me twitch and I see myself mumbling. And
the tour is called Recreation, yes?
Yes, it's a as in regarding creation. So it's about my creation. It's about the parenting of me. It's the second of 2 shows I've done about being adopted and finding my birth parents. The first show was about finding my birth mother, which was a very serious show in some ways. You relieve that tension. It's a very nice tension to have in the room, like whatever. But it was kind of unexpected. The audience suddenly found themselves, talking about the situation for adoption in Ireland in the 1970s and Catholic Ireland and how Ireland stopped people finding their information. And it became this detective show trying to work through that. It was Philomena, essentially. The film Philomena, the Steve Coogan and Judi Dench film. This film is about me contacting my father for the first time. So this is Elf. This is literally, it's genuinely, there is a nice professional man of a certain age who unsuspectingly has a really tall man in a clown outfit arrive into his life and go, hello, daddy. And it's that story. So it's so I've been sort of gifted, it's a thing I put off looking into for years and then said, I should see if there's something in this. Just for not for the emotional, I didn't have the thing that a lot of adopted people might have had, but I had a kind of sense of this could be a story, not just a story to tell, but a story to know about yourself. And it just became these, like, normally you write out routine, and you write the names of them. But there's like, in the second half of both the last shows had just been, I'll start with that tune, that tune. And then I just read the words, long story. Because I know at that point, from there to the end, is this one story.
Can we talk about, I'm obsessed with this, writing wine.
Writing wine. Oh, yeah,
Writing wine.
Writing wine. Yeah, my writing wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's various different stages you know about. There are fine wines. There are wines you pair with things. You'd wine with things. Then there are just wines you would have so that you can write jokes while drinking the wine, right?
Okay.
So they're usually quite a drinkable wine, you know, because they're not in company with the meal. It's just you in a room drinking on your own, right?
Yeah.
Which is a thing that maybe we shouldn't glorify. But at some point, it's interesting to write in reaction to something.
Right.
As in, like, and so on stage, you're going, oh, what did you say to me? That's made my brain go, and throw out loads of stuff, like whatever. That's difficult to recreate on your own because you can see what you're doing. There's no sense of surprise. But if you have a couple of glasses of wine, you sort of can't see yourself thinking. And you sort of unexpectedly say a thing and you go, oh, there's a thing. So there was, for a while, I do it less than I used to, which is probably the right thing. But nothing much good for the first couple of glasses. Then there's a sweet spot from glasses 2, 3, 4, where you're like, yeah, I'm rocking here. I'm coming up with stuff I didn't expect. This is great. I'm going to write it down there. I'm running with that. And then there's a bit for glasses 5 and 6 where you're just sitting there going, I was great back in glass 3, wasn't I? I was at my peak. Back then, the stuff I came up with, like whatever. And then you go to bed. It's fun.
That is fantastic. Dara, take us back to pre-World Tours. When you were younger, was there a moment when you thought, I want to be on the stage, or I could be on the stage?
There certainly wasn't. I was never a class clown, and I was quite dorky and shy. I was a really, really sciencey boy. You probably because I do all the sciencey stuff, but that's like based on me actually really being into that stuff. So I went into university to do a maths degree of all things. But in the university, part of the explosion of university life and all the things, whatever, there used to be these big debates, and there were huge things in Irish universities. There would be like 600 people in attendance, and you'd get various, you'd get government ministers in and senior journalists, whatever, and they'd have the debates of the issue of the day. Look, I know it was of 18-year-olds grandstanding, and it probably would look really, really callow now, but at the time it was the thing, amazing. And like, look at these people and their comfort at being in front of a crowd. Yeah. And I used to sit at the back for the first year of university, and just envy just built and whatever. And it's a great thing, envy, for making you. It's a good...
Picks you to do something.
Yeah, and it's a good kind of like reflection of your true self that you go, I wish I was doing that, like whatever it's going. And I remember being really envious of them doing it. And then second year came around and they have a competition called the Maiden Speakers, which is for first years to do it. And I put myself in the second year. And I had a joke at the start about some really specific to the university thing about they'd moved the faculty of law somewhere else. And I had some joke about law students who've travelled so far to be with us today or whatever, because they're all griping about how they had to do this long walk. Really unimportant what it was about. It got a massive laugh from the 20 people in the room and a big round of applause. And it's like a dial that I didn't know was in me suddenly went into the red. And I was like, that's not.
Look up now, look up.
And I've been chasing that high for 30 years. I've been looking at the exact same rush I could ever grab. The bit in Trainspotting where they're feeling, that.
Okay, we're having a rarity here on Dish, a dessert.
I know.
Why, really? You don't do them, Dara?
We don't. We don't.
Have I forced you into a dessert?
Not forced. It's been done with our pleasure.
Not forced.
Well, I feel it's done more with my pleasure. Because this is cracking.
So, and you've made us profiteroles.
Profiteroles. And rather than cream, I put ice cream.
Ice cream, that's the legendary move. Yeah.
Why did Dara get a dessert? What made you think, do you know what? I'll do that for Dara.
I like Dara's desserts.
What do you mean?
Well, the choice of dessert is what I liked about Dara.
I thought that was a brandy ad coming out.
No, because you like tarte tatin. You like tarte tatin. You like cheesecake.
Cheesecake. But cold rather than cold.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you like profiteroles. Because I don't have a sweet tooth, but if I was going to have something, it would be one of those desserts.
Yeah. Do you remember specifically saying no sponge cakes, no cake? No, I'm not a cake person. Yeah.
And why would you have that as dessert? It just doesn't work. That's something you have in the afternoon with your gran or something. I'm with you.
Did you just knock these up before?
I did.
It's essentially Yorkshire pudding.
It is a batter mix, It's like, well, not a batter, it's thicker than a batter, but it's the same sort of ingredient, except you don't put butter in a Yorkshire pudding. It It is eggs and flour. That's
Okay.
what it. And there's butter in this as well. A
It's
bit
very
more
good.
butter because I measured it wrong. But they work. So they're
They
fine.
did work.
They
Look,
worked.
I'm nodding along. I don't care. I don't need to see behind the curtain on this.
No,
I just want to eat it without going on. What
No.
did you use to? No, just num more. And
There is more.
No, it's grand. Look,
There is more. There is more.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Mock the Week, please?
Yes,
Because Mock the
love
Week was
that.
on our TV for what?
It's gone.
God bless
God.
her. What, 17
17 years. We
Oh
got
my
17
giddy
years.
aunt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is incredible run for a show.
It was
17
ridiculous, and there were points where I thought it wouldn't, and points
Yeah.
where it dipped, and it went through various because we kept having to introduce a new generation of comics,
Yeah.
and so there'd be a bit where
Yeah.
it would go, they were new and they're shy and they weren't working well, and they're just getting used to it, and then they would get better, and they would become the faces of it for a while,
Yeah.
and then they would. What happened was basically like running a finishing school.
Yeah.
We would take people from the top of Edinburgh, and we'd have them on the telly a few times, and they would learn how to do telly and jokes on telly. And then they would go, great, I've had enough of this now.
Yeah.
I
Because
want my own TV show.
but
Yeah.
Mock the Week required a certain amount of work, more work than most of these shows do.
Yeah.
Because that whole thing of like the bit at the end where I press a buzzer and they'd walk out and forward, people would go in with 40 jokes for that.
Wow.
Or 60
Really?
jokes,
Wow.
like whatever. Yeah. I mean, it was quite the technical thing. I mean, Frankie and Russell used to talk about having a memory palace. Because not only would you have to have 40 jokes for that, you'd have to do the rest of the show. So it was very technically very difficult to do. And so they would do that. And the people just sort of went, I'm just going to go and would I lie to you and just talk. Because that's all you have to do. Like,
Yeah,
it's got-
exactly.
So it was quite a technical exercise, and then we bring in new people again. So we went through 4 or 5 generations.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was an interesting thing to work on because I liked the young comics coming through, which is not a given in people who work on long-running panel shows that they like. And having gone through the experience, I'm not going to say it.
I wonder who he's talking about.
But there are older acts who came from a generation, who were not great new people. We love new people.
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
like, hello. And
Yeah.
so I came through a much frostier generation. and so
yeah.
where this generation are much more collaborative and much more,
Yeah.
they all do each other's podcasts.
Yeah,
they're
of
used to
course.
working
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
And it made it much more enjoyable show
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
Well, we loved that show so
Yeah.
much.
Oh, it was great.
I loved it.
Yeah.
We had great fun with it. And it was weird when it ended.
Yeah.
It's suddenly like everyone went, oh yeah, we like that show. And it's,
Should have told us.
yeah, I know. Maybe it could have, but like it was nice to have an end to it that was
Yeah.
upbeat. We also got, which people don't normally do, we got to do 6 episodes of Goodbye, basically,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
exactly were during Liz Truss's prime ministership. It was like we welcomed Liz Truss
could
in
not ask
and we
for
said
a
goodbye to
better
Liz
time.
Truss, and that was the last. It was like what a lovely gift as a last thing to give us someone's entire prime minister career in one series.
Okay, Dara, it is time for your fast food quiz.
Yeah.
What is your favourite way to eat eggs?
Fried. 2 eggs fried in the morning on toast. Yeah.
Yes, I like in the morning.
Yeah.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like at midnight.
Yeah, a midnight egg.
Probably
Nice job.
as long as the yolk is soft, as long as or
Okay,
the yellow, as long as the yellow is soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
then
right.
Yeah.
What about your favourite sandwich filling?
Cheese, like probably sliced cheese, and an Irish product called Chef Brown sauce.
Chef Brown
sauce. I have to get it from specialist Irish shops here, and it's like the closest would be something like YR, but it's not YR.
Okay.
And they're brown sauce, and it is a iconic Irish. It's a bit
Okay.
like we go on a potato and things like that.
Yeah.
But there is a kind of that. I often, when I go over to Dublin on the tour on the first weekend, I will buy the bread, Brennan's bread, and I'll buy Chef Brown sauce. It's not a fancy thing, but it's the childhood thing.
Okay,
So
I'm gonna
that's
find
my
that.
go-to. Yeah.
Can I just say this is quick fire?
Yeah.
Quick fire.
I'm sorry.
Quick
Cheese
fire.
and Chef Brown sauce. You need this. Yeah.
He does speak very quickly, though, to be fair.
Favourite crisp?
Oh, tato, salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar tato?
No, I know.
Yes, that's the correct answer. That is the correct answer.
Okay, fine.
Well,
No,
what else
cheese,
are you gonna
maybe
say?
cheese and onion. Potato.
Cheese and
Potato.
onion.
Anyway, yeah.
Favourite pasta?
Oh, can I say gnocchi?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then gnocchi.
Do you have a favourite Sunday roast meat?
Shoulder of lamb.
Yes.
Shoulder of lamb, lovely. When it coming off the bone.
Oh, yeah.
God,
I had that on Sunday, actually.
Yeah.
It was sensational.
Sensational.
Coming off the butt, it was perfect.
You made it. You cooked it.
No, I went to the pub and had it.
Oh, you
That's even better way of having it. Yeah.
Favourite fruit?
Pineapple.
Oh, pineapple. Nice.
Favourite nut?
None.
No.
No.
No. You're not a
All
nut
of
fan.
them can go to hell.
No. No to nuts.
No nuts. I think
And
that's good.
Finally, favourite beverage?
Yeah.
I'll go for Bulmer / as you know it, Magner's cider.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 years of brand loyalty there.
Yeah, very good. Case is coming your way. That's done.
Oh, no. They once got in contact with me and sent me some. And I thought, it's going to be exciting. Can't wait to get some. 30 years. I've talked about them on social media. Can't wait to see what I get. I've asked people, what do you think they sent me? What do you think they sent me?
What do you think?
What do you think they sent me?
Crates of
A
them.
crate. I've had people, I thought maybe a keg.
Yeah.
A box arrived, 1 pint bottle.
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, 1 pint bottle. And then with a glass with the logo on. Oh, thanks, lads. And what's he going to do? Not drink us?
Yeah.
He's clearly on our
You don't need
page.
to influence the influence.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm already
What's
there.
the point? Yeah. Okay, Dara, we come to the end of the show question.
Yes.
Your question is in this envelope. This is for you.
And if you answer it correctly,
Yes.
we will give you this Waitrose goodie bag.
Yes.
That's good. Yeah. Dara, thank you very much for coming on Dish. For the Waitrose goodie bag, please can you answer the following listener question received. It's from Jack. It's titled Cheese and Fish. Me and my partner love crab linguine. It's a fortnightly staple in our rota. My partner always grates cheese on hers and enjoys unashamedly. However, I can't allow myself the same pleasure. I've internalized some mythical Italian rule about not mixing fish and cheese. Even if I think I'd like it, there's a mental block preventing me from doing so. The rule is at the window with tuna, toasties and jack and potatoes, though. Okay, so it's not a rule then.
Not a rule. It's a pasta rule, maybe.
Are fish and cheese allowed to mix? Are there more layers, exception to the rule? Would appreciate your thoughts. Jack, I mean, he didn't appreciate my thoughts.
Well, I guess this would be a good one for you for the debate team. Was this the sort of thing you'd be debating?
The motion before us is that cheese works with fish. I say to you, members of the House, that I give only one example, which is a fish pie. A fish pie with a layer of cheese and those little breadcrumbs on the top, like whatever, works exceptionally well. I think it's absolutely fine. I mean, the white sauce is essentially that anyway. So I think, why tie yourself to the rules? The Italians absolutely do not tie themselves to rules.
No, they certainly do not.
They will occasionally pull rank and go, "What? You're doing that with that?"
Yeah.
But they don't really mean it. And it's fine.
They make them up as they go along.
Absolutely,
essentially.
I think you could do that, like whatever. I'm not saying that you should say, make a nice bit of mackerel and then knock a cheese slice on the top.
That would be wrong on every level.
Terribly wrong.
Wrong on every
Awfully
level.
wrong.
Dairy cheese triangle.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe the answer is absolutely yes in certain circumstances. I couldn't tell you which cheese, but cheese will add to anything.
I agree. Cheese is one of my things.
Cheese will add.
That's a
Cheese
great
will add.
answer.
There we go. Great answer, Dara. The goodie bag is yours. Dara, thank you so much for joining us. A round of applause for our guest, Dara. Bring everybody.
Honestly.
Thank you, Dara.
Amazing.